With reference to the Rock, finally, Ipswich Town's wait for a win over Norwich is over as East Anglia re-renders itself blue and white. Hello and welcome back to the channel. I am a very happy Harvey Bell today after the events at Portman Road, which we're about to delve into. But before we do that, if you could subscribe down below and tell me who your man of the match was in the comment section, that would be greatly appreciated. If you do not know what happened today, Ipswich Town ended a 16-and-a-half-year wait to beat rivals Norwich City, and they did it in phenomenal style. Completely dominant performance at home at Portman Road. 3-1 the final score. Goals from Cedric Kipre, Jaden Philogene and Jack Clarke. And yeah, truly good feeling to finally beat our rivals after so long. So as I say, Cedric Kipre opened the scoring. Corner came in. He controlled it, smashed it into the roof of the net. Really strong finish. Norwich equalised just a couple of minutes after. Not the greatest goal to concede from an Ipswich Town point of view, but Norwich got themselves back in the game. And on the stroke of half-time, Jaden Philogene did do something quite special. He completely turned his man, left him for dust, and then probably from about 30-35 yards, absolutely levered the ball. And the goalkeeper had absolutely no chance of saving it. That will be nominated for Goal of the Month. Probably will win Goal of the Month, and who knows, maybe even a contender for Goal of the Season. But a truly special finish from a man in fine form at Portman Road at the minute. And then the third goal came from Marcelino Nunes, who we'll talk about in just a minute, playing the ball over to Ivan Azon, who hit the post. It rebounded out to Jack Clarke, who smashed it in to make it 3-1. And that was on about the 75th minute. So from there, it was a party atmosphere at Portman Road, and the Ipswich Town fans could enjoy a comfortable last 10 minutes or so, making sure that the Derby Day win was staying intact and, was finally going to come. So that was very exciting indeed. Stripping back who the opponents were and what the occasional means, it's a very good result for Ipswich Town in terms of the championship table. Gets us as high as 9th in the table, and if we win our game in hand that we've got because of that curtailed Blackburn game, we could get as high as 3rd in the table if and when that fixture gets replayed, which is very good, bearing in mind we had a little bit of a shaky start to the season, but we've now won our last 3 home games in a row. We got that draw at Bristol City as well, making it 10 points from 12 available in the latest block of fixtures since the last international break. So I think that's a very good return. I think the fan base are growing a little bit more confident in this current crop of players. I think that crop of players are growing a little bit more confident in themselves. I think you can see that bond growing between the players, and they're starting to see a little bit of the sort of style of play that we've come used to knowing over the last couple of years with Ipswich Town. So that's particularly exciting. Ipswich Town were dominant today, it has to be said. Even if I take my blue tinted glasses off, I feel like that's perfectly fine to say. From minute one, I don't feel like Norwich really threatened us, other than when they obviously scored. I don't think they offered too much going forward. Cedric Kipre won man of the match inside the stadium, and that's because he kept Josh Sargent, a very formidable striker at this level, very quiet. He marshalled him superbly, and I think that went a long way to us, having a really confident display. And I just think going forward, we were creative enough. I don't think we created loads and loads, but what we did create, we were quite clinical with. I mean, George Hurst had a couple of chances that he might be annoyed with himself and not scoring, but then again, that's the role of a striker sometimes, and you don't score every time. But when you've got people like Jack Clarke stepping up to the plate, as he did, Jaden Philogene in the form he is at the minute, you can get away with it a bit more because, ultimately goals are still being scored. And Hurst played a good role today in holding the ball up, sort of bringing the wingers into play. So I can't really argue with him too much. And yeah, I just thought overall it was a really sort of solid performance from Ipswich Town. I do think there was another gear for us to go into, perhaps if we needed it, but I don't think we necessarily did. I think we'll need that in bigger games to come, like Middlesbrough away, as soon as the international break is over. But yeah, I don't think we really necessarily needed to get out of second gear today to deliver what was a very sort of solid and sound performance in a game that maybe, the occasion could have got the better of us and tempers spilling over. But I think the squad handled it terrifically well. Not many yellow cards at all for an East Anglian Derby. So I think credit has to go there to Kieran McKenna and his staff and the leadership from Dara O'Shea to keep the players all level-headed and grounded when it came to the occasion. And ultimately that went a long way to us obviously going on to win the game 3-1. But I want to talk about my perspective as obviously being an Ipswich fan that had never seen us beat Norwich before. I've been going for 15 years now. I think I said that a fair bit on the channel, and this is the first time I've seen us beat Norwich. Genuinely feels like a bit of a weight lifted. I know that seems ridiculous to say about a football match at the end of the day, but whenever I've had banter with Norwich fans in the past, whenever I've had debates with them, things like that, they always come back to this whole 16-year thing. But it really feels now like they've got nothing to say. Ipswich have the better history. We've won more. It feels like Ipswich are the club at the minute most likely to get back in the Premier League, the club that had been in the Premier League most recently, the club with the bigger fan base, obviously now that we've beaten them, the club with the better team. So it really doesn't feel like they've got a leg to stand on when it comes to the whole who is the bigger club debate, which I know might sound a little bit trivial, but it's football rivalry and we all love it. And I feel like our players today have given us that sort of ammunition, if you will, when it comes to debating those sort of things, which is really, really good, and it makes me very, very happy. I sort of likened it to Thanos getting all of his Infinity Stones. For you Marvel fans out there, today was the final Infinity Stone to give us complete power and control over East Anglia, and certainly when it comes to bragging rights. So I feel very, very happy. I'm sure every Ipswich Town fan does now, because it's been a long, long old wait, but it does feel particularly good at the moment. My man of the match, I can't argue with the one that was given in the stadium, Cedric Kipre. I thought he was superb. Really held on to the ball well at the back. Couple of nice turns as well, got us playing out from the back. And yeah, was really, really solid on only his second start for the club. So completely fair play to him. As I say, terrific goal from Jaden Philogene, but a special mention to Azor Matasiwa as well in the middle. He is growing on me every single week. You know, he gets around the pitch so much. He's popping up in places here, there and everywhere. And, you know, he puts a challenge in, keeps play ticking over so well, and does it in such a sort of nonchalant way, and is quite quiet about how he goes about his business. But, you know, without him, I think our midfield would look very, very different. And he's really, really impressed me so far this season, and hopefully he keeps going from strength to strength as well. But ultimately, a really good team performance and just a fantastic day at Portman Road that was topped off by the Marcelino Nunes celebrations as well, because he obviously had that contribution to the third goal, playing the ball forward, but the scenes after the match were quite something. Him picking up the corner flag, waving that about. He then went over and grabbed the banner from that Norwich fan who tweeted about him, and they were waving that. Sort of, he was waving that above his head as well. Run over to the West Stand where I sit, kissed the badge. And yeah, I mean, he has absolutely no qualms about offending the opposition fan base, and was really, really lapping up the attention. And, you know, well he might, because he did contribute to what was a terrific day at Portman Road. And it was a party atmosphere for the last 20 minutes or so in that ground, because we knew that the curse was being lifted as such. And, you know, it was a really, just really good day to be a part of, and celebrated afterwards, sort of in Isaac's on the quay as well. And I'm sure many Ipswich Town fans were sort of out and about in the town and celebrating in their own way, because it is a day to celebrate. I know it's only 3 points at the end of the day, but if you don't enjoy these days as a football fan, I don't think anybody would ever go to a football match, because, you know, it is these rivalries that keep things ticking over, and to finally get one over Norwich is really, really sort of pleasing for every Ipswich Town fan out there as well. So, as I say, let me know down in the comments who you think was man of the match. We go to Middlesbrough next after the international break, but we'll worry about that in a couple of weeks. So all that's left for me to say now, other than the fact that East Anglia is blue and white, is thank you for watching, and keep on keeping on.